match of the evening to try and make it through to the semi-finals of the United Cup. Team Poland against Team GB. And welcome to Tom and Jim.
Good evening, everybody, from courtside. It's just a nice 21 degrees down here. A very different feel, I've got to say, than what it's been throughout the week here. A lot cooler.
Promising start here.
Cooler conditions. Good evening, guys, by the way, and everyone at home. Cooler conditions are not just pleasant for the players' bodies, it also offers a little bit more control of the tennis ball. In the cooler conditions, the ball not quite as lively, but quite a lively start from Billy Harris tonight, as you see the details on Hubert Hurkacz. And control, something that's been lacking in the forehand wing of Hurkacz in his 2 matches here so far on the singles court. No real problems with his serve, but
as you were saying,
yeah, the serve is an eraser that can get rid of a lot of problems, a lot of stains on the page, but he needs that forehand to sharpen up here to build a little bit of confidence. That's the side you would expect Billy Harris would be looking to get into. First, you got to get into the point.
Yeah, McLarens don't buy themselves, but first serves do.
Well, it's interesting you talk about the forehand. I had a good chance, guys, to have a little catch up with Nicolas Massou and talk about the last match that he played. And one of the key things that they were trying to work on is movement. And movement's obviously essential to get the feet in the right place, to get the right strike on the ball. And one of the key things is that they had a block coming in here. They had 10 days of training, and the knee started to worry me a little bit, got a little bit of fluid on it, and had to take a break, had 10 days off from hitting balls again. So that was not ideal to their preparation coming down here. It's all been fine since they've been here. It's all going well. But again, that was just a little dent in the confidence that has shown through here. So still really, you could call it trying to get back fully from what happened with those injuries last year.
Just to see where he gyrates a lot of his traffic. Does quite like the wide serve Billy Harris on the due side, which does fit nicely into that pattern, into the forehand. But that is one of his better returns of the tournament. Held his balance beautifully there, lovely little flick. And he doesn't mind a backhand down the line, does Hurkacz.
Both tall men. Hurkacz, one of the great first serves in men's tennis, and Harris not quite as tall and not quite as powerful on his first deliveries as Hurkacz, but that was a good one, 196. That's a nice 1-2 punch.
I like to see him being active with his feet through the ball, through the middle of the court. At times you feel he's either late getting there or he'd actually rather hit a backhand. That's a good sign, good spacing. Easier for Harris than Hurkacz in his opening service game to hold on to make it 1 apiece.
Todd, I got a chance to talk to Hubie yesterday, actually, in the afternoon. I was asking him about the comeback from the meniscal tear he suffered in his right knee at Wimbledon last year, and he said that, you know, that the surgery was successful and he came back fine, but the fluid in the knee was really bothering him, and it hasn't really let up yet. He said he still gets a little bit tight in there with the fluid. I think over time the doctors think that will take care of itself with the proper treatment. But he played a lot of tournaments at the end of last year, really kind of like on a half tank of gas, right? Just wasn't able to move the way he wanted to, not as practiced as he would like to be, which it sounds like he's in sort of the same boat here as far as the practice goes. He's another one of those guys who's been floating around in sort of 5 to 12 in the world for a while. He's dropped out and dropped down because of his inability to play with that injury as of late outside the top 10. But trying to figure out, how do I get my hands on a big trophy? And he is a darn good grass court player, isn't he? Last player to beat Roger Federer at Wimbledon.
Semi-finalist there, and as I say, quarter-finalist last year at Australia. He's been making some nice little moves through the majors. He said his decision to move away from Craig Boynton was driven by that desire. I was watching him practice, actually warming up. I don't know if he's feeling it a little bit again in that knee. He wasn't moving great in practice.
He is. He told me that yesterday. He's got a little bit of swelling in there from the matches. Hard court's very difficult on the body at the best of times. All the hard braking, change of directions that the modern game requires. It's highly physical.
Well, it's nice to see him jogging a little bit to the chair, but there's no question that he's just a little hampered out there. But the serve has got him into a 2-1 lead. Well, he's a man that likes fast cars, does Hubert Hurkacz. I don't know if he likes fast airplanes or not, but Sydney Seaplanes is a pretty popular choice around here to get above the Sydney Harbour, the Eastern Beaches, and of course the Sydney Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. You can go and fly down the Hawkesbury River, and you can even take a seaplane over to Rose Bay to Cottage Point, land on the water and have a bit of dinner and come back. But that's only for the elite of the elite, the Todd Woodbridges of this world.
Well, that's about the size of the plane that I'd be able to afford, probably.
I could afford a paper one. I'm just making it now. It's a very unique event. It's a great event. It's obviously been through a couple of iterations, and they've done a nice job in terms of being able to condense it down to the top players, men and women, and of course the mixed doubles, the shortened format from the opening edition of the United Cup, where there were 2 singles players and a mixed doubles as well, with 5 matches. Just went on a little bit. This has worked very nicely. Fell in that second round match against Artifice, had to withdraw in the breaker in the 4th set, and then was told that he pretty much would be pulling the ripcord on the season after that when he went back and spoke to a couple of the surgeons, Hurkacz. However, having spoken to a few other people, including Novak Djokovic, ended up going under the knife on the 15th of July. And against all odds, was lacing it up in the Canadian ATP 1000 event over in Montreal against Kokkinakis. Well, we know he's a bit hit and miss off the return, Hurkacz, but if he is carrying just a slight problem with that knee, you just wonder just if he'll be even more aggressive to try and keep the points even shorter if he can.
A really nice start for Billy Harris to settle in here against a player of Hurkacz's caliber. Again, coming off of a really interesting experience. He's a guy who's been playing in the minor leagues for most of his career. Did have a wonderful grass court season last summer over in the UK. Third match here, he's played 3 different styles of players. Tomas Martin Echeverry, the first, another tall player from Argentina, but a little bit more pop on the forehand than he's seeing here tonight. Then he played Alex de Minaur, just hit him hard with the flurry of aggressive shots and aggressive footwork, and it was over very quickly, that one. He's going to have more time on the ball tonight in the baseline exchanges than he's had. Echeverry didn't allow him to operate in the second and third sets with much aggression. He overwhelmed him, and well, from the jump, de Minaur did that. Tonight, he's playing against a guy who historically is one of the smoothest but slowest ball strikers in men's tennis off the ground, Petch. What's that going to do for Billy?
Well, on one hand, it's going to give him that precious commodity of time. The downside for him is going to come through low because he's also one of the flatter hitters in combination, but it's also going to force Billy to have to try and generate pace off his forehand side, and that is going to be interesting for me. If there is a flaw in his game, I love his backhand. It's very solid. Making pace and dominating with that forehand isn't his forte. But the backhand is a work of art.
Not easy to get a lob over someone as sizable as Hurkacz. This drops in just inside the baseline. That is beautiful.
That's one of his better forehands of the tournament coming from Hurkacz. A little clenched fist as Team Poland lead 3-2 in the opening set. Look at that wonderful pace, not just the height that he obviously gets, but pace and spin from Billy Harris getting over Hurkacz. Świątek, perhaps the catalyst for a boom in Polish tennis in the next decade or so. Certainly a popular duo. It's going to be quite interesting watching Masu here at the changeover. There you can see him looking about driving into the two-hander, but there was definitely some chat about using the slice off the double-hander for Hurkacz. Trying to break up the rhythm for Billy Harris.
For Billy Harris, every one of these matches at the United Cup is really important on a couple of levels. One, there's fantastic prize money available just being a part of the team, and that's helpful for a guy who hasn't put a lot away in his years on tour at 29 years. He's still trying to crack the top 100 for the first time. He's been as close as 101 in the world late last year. He's played a lot of small tournaments where the amount of points that you would win for winning the entire tournament are equal to what's available to him if he beats Hurkacz today. If he wins this match, his ranking would be projected to go from 125 in the world up to round about 110 in the world. Get him knocking on the door of getting into double digits, and that is a milestone for every player, but especially one who's been toiling in the minors as much as he has. So this is not something he should want to be thinking about, but we certainly are for him. It's a big moment for him on so many levels. And of course, if he gets a win here, it puts GB in a great spot, right? Świątek is rough. She's certainly the favorite against Bolter, and the mixed doubles, if it's one apiece, anything can happen.
But he loves that serve out wide. This Hurkacz a number of times has just tried to nullify it with a little block return. It's not worked out for him. Pulls up alongside him at 3 apiece. It's been a remarkable kind of rise up through the rankings and experiences for him. Didn't play his first challenger until 2022. Didn't win his first tour match until November of 2023 in Bulgarian Sofia. Andrei Husler, a Swiss player, going down in the final set to breaker to Billy Harris. Todd, no great surprises early on in these opening 6 games.
No, and I'm sitting here contemplating, listening to the story of Billy and the rankings, and where can he now find more to keep improving? And there's obviously, quite a few areas. One of them is to find some fluidity in the serve when you look at both service actions. Nicely done from Hubie there. Hubie's got this lovely languid serve that just kind of it's able to pop the ball into corners, whereas I think Harris really needs to try to work on showing some more strings down the court. It's a very lateral serve from the back. It doesn't move off the court very much, so it's quite returnable. And that's a touch of class.
That looked like Todd Woodbridge drifting in there in the doubles there, just popping it back over. Beautiful stuff from Hubie. 4-3.
Yes, I made a few half volleys. That was because I didn't get in quick enough to make the first volley.
I was on the receiving end of far too many of those. Look at that. He knew exactly what he wanted to do with that.
Sometimes we say right here, soft hands. Just look at his racket there. He's not squeezing the grip hard. He's holding it just enough to be able to control the ball. And that's all about what at times we talk about feel and touch. People that don't have that feel would really be getting anxious right there with their hand on the racket and try to really grip it hard. And that was a really great camera angle of actually showing what you need to do to actually just hold it smoothly to take pace off the ball.
I always love when Todd takes a shot at me without actually saying my name. I always appreciate that. Thanks, Todd. Longtime teammates.
Undefeated.
Let's just take another look at this bit of tennis art. Look at the racket just going back, softening the pace, killing it.
What would you reckon that his grip pressure would be at that point if 100 as hard as you can be? 60, 60, 50?
Yeah, I would say so 50, 50, just enough to be able to control the racket face without, putting pressure and forcing the ball.
It's lovely to watch.
Todd, I want to circle back. Can Billy Harris improve his serve at 29 years of age? If you were coaching him, would you try to, and could you?
Yeah, I think you just do it incrementally. I mean, he's obviously got the power, but the other part to it is that he's very thick up in, like he's like a bouncer. Put a black shirt on him and put him outside of the club, but you wouldn't want to get past him.
Well, you'd want to.
Well, yeah. He wouldn't let me in.
It depends what the club's like inside.
It depends, yeah. but so look at the two athletes. There's only a couple of inches separating them in height. There's the issue with the serve. It doesn't have enough shape and spin to move and get it to dip down in the court. But I think he's really very, very solid. He's in good shape. There's no doubt about that. Very strong. But I reckon he could be a little leaner in the upper, as a little more like Hurkacz is. And I think that will help him a little bit to rotate through the shoulders here. Nice work there. Going to get a little look at his service action here, and when I mean very lateral, if we can get it's not quite the angle, but you'll see here that the shoulder, the back right shoulder, doesn't really push back much, and then the racket is very straight there. That's the old-fashioned position. The modern serve today has more strings open to the court. You see here, you can't see any strings there. And if he could try to get a little bit better in that position, I think he can get more shape on the ball. Because returning's interesting. If the ball moves off the court with some spin, you don't catch it out of the center of the racket as easy. Yes, you're going to make it, but it falls a bit shorter. You get that +1 shot easier. When he hit it as hard and flat as what he does, it's easier to block it back and get yourself in the point. And that's particularly when you're playing in these next levels where he's moving to.
That's solidly done there. And Todd, we've seen in the last 2 years that if a player makes up their mind that they're willing to make a change, they can make them. We've seen Jannik Sinner has changed his serve a couple of different times in the last 2 years, changed his footwork entirely from a platform serve to a step up, where his back foot was static. Now it starts back and comes up to his front foot. Smoothed out his take back as well. He's made major changes during the season and seen a great outcome. So if you're a player like Billy Harris wondering if you should be willing to make changes, you don't have to look very far. Just look at the top of the rankings and you'll see that it can be done. Alcaraz changed his take back as well.
Rafa, go back through the years.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
His forehand.
Sure.
What we considered when he came on the tour as the greatest shot has been through at least 3 iterations.
Haven't seen much tension in service games up till this point, but with the new balls, maybe control a little bit lacking here. Here's a little bit.
Tended to want to go wide in these pressure point moments. And try to change it up to go down the tee, and he's missed it. And Hubie jogging back, giving himself some time here.
You could just see the lack of confidence in that return to serve swing from Hurkacz. Just didn't quite center that one, Todd.
No, his ball striking's not that great. I've got to tell you, he's like you'll see here.
Todd, please do not sugarcoat things.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit of frame on both almost. And I think a lot of that for me has got to do with his moving at the moment, just not in the right position.
Nothing wrong with the movement on that one. So they're level at 4. Let's take a look at the two service motions side by side if we can. Hurkacz on the right of screen. It's a one-piece motion. It's fluid. It never stops moving. If you look at the left of the screen, when Billy gets up to here, the elbow sort of locks for about a half of a second. That never happens with Hurkacz. Hurkacz just keeps flowing. And Billy has to kind of restart the car almost. It's a little bit different. I would probably start there. Let's try and pull that together into a one piece and see if we can get a little more momentum, because momentum matters here. You got to just keep everything moving together in a well-oiled machine.
He gets quite deep with his elbow and tight to his back as well, where you look at Hubie very much more like a javelin thrower.
Ironically.
Yeah, because his Billy Harris's brother threw the javelin for the Commonwealth Games.
14.
Nice and easy on serve for Hurkacz. He was knocking on the door in the previous return game. It is 5-4. Todd, did you make any major technical changes in your career?
Absolutely. I mean, my serve was a work in progress from a young age. I started in the eras of watching John Newcombe and all these famous Aussies, and they used to cross over. I started on tour landing on my right foot, not on the left foot. How about that? So I made a lot of changes, and you know, one of the interesting one for me at 5'10" at 178 centimeters was I used to struggle with shape, and so I then started fiddling with the length of the racket. I tried a full inch longer, went 28 inch, and that helped enormously. I found it a little harder with my volleying, so then I pulled that back to 27 and a half, and my serve improved dramatically. So you're always looking for areas to improve it.
That's part of the Aussie summer at tennis, hot shots, and well, that is a pretty decent effort from there. I'm not giving myself a chance to get that through on the first try. Oh, that was a nice second bite of the cherry. A little decent pace on that, maybe a little bit more than Hurkacz getting on his forehand at the moment. There was a little bit of confidence builder that he got to juice in the last game when he felt a bit more confident to get after that forehand if he's in a similar situation here. Talking of service motions that have changed in recent times, Katie Bolter's one to look out for in the next match against Iga Swiatek, the world #2. Remodeled it last season. First time started it after the Olympics, and then put in a good shift in the off-season, which was short for all the players.
Love 15.
Got a serve there for Billy. You know, one last interesting fact about Harris's serve is where he actually holds the grip. He holds it a long way down, so he doesn't get the wrist flexion through the ball. You see where he's
he chokes up on it, doesn't he?
Yeah, the butt of the racket, so you don't get this nice flick. He needs to kind of try to get that back down in the hand a bit. And I'm just going to bring up the late, great Neil Fraser, who passed away just before Christmas, one of Australia's iconic legends of the game. And Fraser had one of the best left-handed serves there's ever been. And he used to serve with his pinky finger completely off the racket. And he had this incredible ability to shape the ball because he had it right down low in the palm of his hand.
14.
But if you choke on the racket, you just can't get as good a wrist snap and flexion through that ball.
Okay. Team Redwood.
An auspicious start to the game with a double fault, but he put that behind him very quickly with some wonderful serving. No chances there for Hurkacz as we drift towards a potential opening set tiebreak.
Already up to 7 aces. Hurkacz pumping that one over 200. But yeah, the movement definitely does not look as explosive as we're used to seeing from Hurkacz, and that's understandable if he's feeling a little bit of swelling in that knee to protect it. the right knee. Oh, that's nice. Really good read of the play there. What do you call that, Petch? Serve and?
Survey.
Serve and survey. See what happens after the serve. If it floats, you float in and take this forehand out of the air.
Another ace to add to the collection as we head towards familiar territory for this man. A tiebreaker, 6-5, Team Poland.
Team Poland leads 6 games to 5.
So again, this game is the other one. We are a little more away in the second point, third point. We have chances to make the break. We will have chances. So when we have the chances, we have to be ready. We will have. Next game, Friday, that's it. We want to have. We want to have. The white, sir. Try to make the service less smaller.
Stasinski, the Team Poland captain, just to the right of Hubert Hurkacz. Nicholas Massou standing up there as they try and find a solution to the problems that Hurkacz is having on the return. The Flamingo is going to be there for the duration of the tournament. It's become a bit of a lucky mascot for Team Poland after it headed down to the tidal pool on their day off. Harris trying to take this opening set into the tiebreak here. Had some very good accuracy in this last service game, and that's continued. Didn't get deceived by the opening serve down the tee. He has had a lot of serves directed into his forehand on the deuce side. And he lent that way, and he is perhaps going to save himself the ordeal of tiebreak. Opportunity developing here for Hurkacz.
can hear Nico Masu, his coach, saying, "Good shot, bravo, Hubie." That's a shot they want to continue to encourage him to go after, Todd.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's the right time to go out after it. 15-30, and we know that Harris's forehand breaks down in that situation more so than the backhand, and that's where I kind of get a bit worried for Hubie that he doesn't really have a strategy. They're just working on shots other than a game plan at a key moment in a set. I would have been drilling it back into the Harris forehand, trying to get him to make an unforced error.
I'm with you, Todd. I think when players are working on specific things, the time to really try them if you're unsure and it's still a work in progress is when the pressure is very minimal. When you have a lead or it's 40-love in a game, something along those lines. But in that situation, he should have gone cross court. Yeah,
well, there's two things happening, isn't it? You're trying to work on that, but you're also trying to get the win because you need the confidence to go with it. So I think we're both seeing that.
Yes.
Got this.
Just looks as though Billy Harris for the first time is paying a bit of a reputation tax hit. Would be a significant scout for him ranking wise. And that failed attempt on the backhand side brings up a set point for Team Poland. Makes sense to direct traffic into that forehand side on the big points. It is the return that he misses more often than his backhand.
Now that was well played, wasn't it?
Advantage, Team Poland.
That's exactly what we were just discussing about the right time and the right point to play, and Hurkacz comes up with it.
Second chance to close out this opening set.
Yes.
Dropped the pace on both of those first serves on the set points has Harris, and it's worked out nicely for him.
First serve's not coming with an immense amount of pace. That one 183, the other one was in the 180s as well, the point prior, and Hurkacz chipping it when he actually would have enough time to block it or swing over it if he so chooses, but whatever reason, opting for that. That's something you would see him do more often against something with a two-handle on it, not a 180. think it all just sort of boils down to still searching for confidence.
Most of the points when he's in front of the ball and when he's in charge of the rally. When he played himself, basically.
Here's your indicator of which shot he trusts more. The backhand Harris stepped around to hit a backhand after the return, came back in, and then how sweet was that last two-hander to finish the point off. Gorgeous. It gets him to game point.
Fabulous effort.
Team Great Britain. Six games all, tiebreak.
And a tremendous arm wrestle on the final point of the 12th game of this opening set. Billy Harris with a lovely riposte there on the forehand side to gain the advantage back in behind Hurkacz. And it sets up a thrilling finale in this first set with the tiebreaker.
Very good. That's away.
Team Poland.
Hurkacz over the last 52 weeks has played 51 breakers. He won 29 of them, just over sort of 50%. The best on tour last year was the best male player of the year, Yannick Sinner, in terms of percentage of tiebreakers won. 25-8 for the Italian.
First service.
Be careful that he doesn't keep dropping it in at that pace into that forehand side. Hurkacz is too good a player not to take advantage in a moment.
Some players have struggled looking up
Team point.
into the canopied roof, all the lattice work. It's a complex view.
You're being kind there, Jim. I mean,
Okay,
this is a case.
Go on, Todd. Go ahead and bash him. Go for it, buddy.
No, but hang on. See, like we're talking about the serve and getting that little bit of nip over the top of the ball. That's exactly what happened there. The hand was too tight. He never got any flexion down to flick it down into the court as a technical error.
Welcome to my world. Todd Woodbridge, hard truths.
It's tense courtside.
I think he's still smiling from Natasha sending that text. Would you even get to the ball last night?
Fair point. Fair play. Hurkacz with the mini break in hand. He's been serving up a storm, hasn't he? 8 aces, made 3/4 of his first serves into play. Has not lost many points on serve tonight.
Kind of feel he got a guess here. Out wide, guess. Makes it tee too good.
Team point.
So hard to catch up to that serve when you see it a fraction late. The one down the middle, maybe you got half a chance you can swing on your forehand, but if you're going to gamble on one, I think that's the one you got to go with Hurkacz. Here's his chance. Second serve. Sensational rally. Billy Harris just not getting enough on the forehand after he'd outmaneuvered himself. And when you do that, you can't go for a marginal gain against somebody like Hurkacz. He saw the line was open. He was always going to take the shot.
Go, Billy.
Bit of class from the former world number 6. And a bit of distance between the two of them. He's missed it.
Almost outsmarted himself. It was a simple down the line backhand pass, staring Hurkacz right in the face to finish the point off, and he just, he slid into it. He could have ran onto the, lots of things he could have done differently there, but that's a real let-off considering the quality of the point he'd played prior as well.
So surprised to see him with his right leg across himself. I mean, he is the most open backhand hitter that we have in terms of his footwork at the back of the court, Hurkacz. I mean, even through the middle of the court when you hit it there, he's kind of playing off his left leg. And that one, he went right-legged and then had to try and hook it back. As you say, he just outthought everything about that shot. And it gives Harris a little chance to salvage this opening set.
It certainly gives him some pep in his step. No doubt about that.
Well, I'm going to go again, Jim. Just on the fact that, I mean, I know they've played a couple of very, very tough points there, and they need a bit of extra time, but that was nearly like a full changeover after 6 points.
Are you this harsh on your contestants on tipping?
I think there was something in his barramundi at lunch.
They get a question wrong. I mean, what were you thinking? No, but seriously, this has taken a long time to change ends in what's supposed to be moving. You know, that's an issue for our sport, that change end.
Do you want to break it to Todd, or should I break it to Todd that just a couple of deuces in a game would kind of make that amount of time microscopic by comparison? We're changing no-ad scoring. But we'll leave that. We'll table it because it's 4-3 Hurkacz. Let's get serious here, team. Let's focus. Because these guys are.
It's crucial for both, isn't it? Hurkacz and his confidence for Harris.
Oh. Stole time and stole the point. Harris thought he had more time to get back into the middle of the court. And Hurkacz just glided in under the cover. Serve and survey, says Mark Pecci.
Wasn't that easy, was it? When you look at it on the replay, at the height, it was slightly uncomfortable. It was good work from Hurkacz. Wrong shot, wrong time.
Right outcome for Team Poland.
6-3. Team Poland.
More set points coming.
And more importantly, it was the wrong shot because of where he was. He was never going to beat Hurkacz from there, even if he hit his career best forehand. But more importantly, he must have been given a little heads up than the nerves that Hurkacz is feeling. That was 155k first serve from Hurkacz. More set points, though, for Team Poland. A little celebration, but probably more relief for Hubert Hurkacz as Team Poland celebrate taking that opening set on the tiebreak. It's always interesting for players as they break through and they go through the various stages. We've obviously seen it from Billy Harris. I haven't actually asked him, but it'd be interesting to know what he feels about ball speed once he's been taking on players in the world's top 50 as he did on the grass last year. Of course, your serve takes care of a lot of the complexities of this sport on a grass court. Just remember when Andy Murray played Roger Federer for the first time in Bangkok in the final, and he came off the court and was talking about how he felt he was surprised that Roger didn't hit the ball harder. His expectation going into that the ball was going to come a lot quicker at him. He was grateful and I think assured that he was well in the mix in terms of pace from the back of the court. Oh, that is it. A terrific turnaround from Billy Harris. Because Hurkacz's backhand down the line was exceptional. And just to put a final pin in that thought, and the reason I said that is because I kind of felt Billy tried to play too well at the back end of that tiebreaker rather than allowing maybe Hurkacz to beat himself.
Well, I've been sitting courtside quite close to Hubie, just watching his grip and on the forehand side where he's struggling a little bit more. And what's interesting is he starts, as he gets ready here, he has quite a neutral grip, which is more like something that you would block the ball with. And so he gets set right about there and it's neutral. And then as the server goes, he then changes it. See the racket move right there? Now it's going into a spin. He'll then take it in and underneath and put a really Western grip, which makes, you can see him re-grip it just then, and then it makes it hard. He doesn't really then chip or block. He has to kind of scoop it. And that's something that he could work on. So he starts neutral as if he is going to block it, but then goes to what would be a normal full hit on it. And I think that's where he gets himself caught. There it goes right there. And now you can see him really grip underneath. It's fine for the backhand because he uses a lot of left hand, but when he goes to the forehand, he doesn't get the block that he's hoping for, and he often leaves it short for the opponent to attack. Just like that.
Game, Team Redwood. First game, 7 sets.
Well, that was a nice skirmish to come through from love 30 down, but particularly second best in that third point of that game for Billy Harris, but then he's reeled off 4 in a row.
It must feel good to be right in the mix tonight for Billy Harris, as he was against Echeverry in his opening match when he won the first set, ended up ultimately losing in 3. Last night, Alex de Minaur was on another planet. Played so well, did the Demon, and it was over in a hurry. This one, he's right in the middle of it. And as he looks forward, whether they're able to get out of this tie and advance or not, he's in the qualifying next week is Billy Harris at the Australian Open. He'll be looking to try and win 3 matches next week and book his, or earn his spot into the main draw of the Australian Open for the first time. Matches like this, if he can stay close, even in defeat, you would think would help him feel a little bit more comfortable in the environment, a little bit more confident. And he's still by no means eliminated in this match.
Example of what I was saying about him always being open stance there, apart from that one that we saw when he dragged it wide at 4-1 in the first set breaker. I feel like sometimes it doesn't help him with his body weight transference through those balls that don't have an awful lot on it. Looking like a potential stone cold start to this second set for Billy Harris is starting to look like a red hot one. Introducing the ball regularly to Hurkacz's baseline. And having carved out a love 30 lead here, can he make something happen? 7 straight points.
This is kind of a drop of intensity that you would really almost have expected from the other end of the court from Harris, and perhaps the disappointment of not being able to win that first set. Strange from Hurkacz here.
That's his rhythm on the serve out wide. We saw a miss hit in the tiebreaker. I wouldn't be surprised if Hurkacz changes up his tempo here and goes for the flamethrower down the tee.
30-40.
Nice call, pitch.
If you make as many in a day as I do, you're going to get one right, Todd. Nice little tidying up job of the net.
Also went for the comfortable forehand, hooking it cross court here rather than trying to force it back behind Billy Harris, which would have been a viable play too. It's just not a shot that he's as confident in. So under high moments of stress, go with what you trust. It's a good rule of thumb.
Advantage. Team bottom. Let first service.
Well, I showed his hand here. He's so good with that diagonal dagger out wide on the ad side, but he felt that perhaps Harris was going to lean there now. Both players wondering what's coming. Hurkacz knows. And he went back to where he attempted to go to before. And he spins the scoreboard in his favour from love 40 down.
One game.
And as Harris gets set to serve again, this is what he did in the opening set. So Mark Petchey's been talking about how in the deuce court on the right of the screen, so many are going wide to the forehand, nearly 3/4. And he's also preferring wide to open the court in the ad court. So that's the type of information that Hurkacz should be thinking about here on these points. If he's going to shade one side or the other, he's got to cover wide more often than not. How's that overhead, Todd? Give you a chance to make up to him.
Well, he didn't get it away, did he?
He's a tough critic, this guy.
I think if you get an overhead, you should be able to put it away. Played a good structured point, though.
Just didn't get there in time.
No, and this is the time of a match where if you're Hurkacz and Nicolas Massou, the coach and the captain in the team, you go, okay, this is where we break him down. And I think that type of point structure from Hurkacz's end of the court is the perfect thing to do. Really just get your job done. Don't have to overplay at this point.
Let first service.
And I think, you know, getting it out fast to the forehand of Harris is an area where you'll get that running error.
Do you like him going back on the second serve return? I almost feel like I want to see Hurkacz go back on the first and come in on the second.
It's not a second serve that it should be threatening him. No, he should be able to stand up, take it on top of the baseline comfortably and drive it if he wants to, right through the middle of the court and then hold his ground.
I mean, that's where he loves to play the rally anyway, up on the baseline. So, I mean, he'll be hitting it from there and just staying there. I have no problem with him going back a little bit here, maybe drifting a little bit to his left to cover Billy's serve out wide.
14-15.
Once you're ahead in the count like this is the time to start mixing up your patterns, and this wouldn't be a bad time for Billy to fire one through the backhand side of Hubert Hurkacz.
Maybe even body.
Yeah.
Who knows, something different. Or Old Faithful and just go sit down and have a sip and get ready to break serve if you can.
Not a bad plan either. 2-1 Billy Harris, second set.
2 games to 1.
Well, it is a pretty cool day, but Billy Harris still need a little bit of ice on his back. But this was the red-hot playground for New Year's Eve. 1.5 million people coming down to Sydney Harbour. A harbour bridge with about 6 million rivets. It was painted in grey because that was the only paint they had at the time in the quantity that particular iconic bridge needs. Sydney Opera House looking resplendent under the sun as we get through to the fire and embers of another beautiful day here in Australia. Harris hanging on to his serve for a second time in this second set. Team Poland on show and Team GB, but more guests have arrived in this part of the world. Backstage with USA.
Coco Gauff on the right, Taylor Fritz on the bicycle on the left. And they had a successful adventure over in Perth on the west coast. Kazakhstan, the other team to make it out of Perth. That team featuring Elena Rybakina and Alexander Shevchenko. They await the winner of tonight's match. Poland and GB. USA will take on the winner of tomorrow night's quarterfinal. That'll be Team Czechia and Italy.
USA Tennis in very good health at the moment on both the men's and the women's side.
Coco's ranked 3. Taylor Fritz is ranked 4. Pretty strong duo, and they've been playing all the matches, including the mixed. And won this title 2 years ago in its inaugural edition.
Oh, even Todd Woodbridge is going to love that.
Now that was special. This is not easy to do.
6:54 p.m. local time, Todd Woodbridge made a compliment.
Come on.
Let the record show.
Yeah, it's got to be good, and that was good.
He's an
Look at him
angry old
wrap
man.
around the outside of the ball. Give me a bad reputation.
Oh, no. You're doing that.
14-11.
Oh, quite a different story in this service game for Hurkacz. Down low 40 in his opening salvo in the second set. On cruise control this time around. Enough so that he was going to serve and volley. Haven't seen him really deploy that. Just the second time in the match. And Hurkacz not slated to play next week, not in any of the entry lists for either Adelaide or Auckland, the 2 men's tournaments taking place.
Dropped the speed off his first serve, bought himself a little time to go in. Failed with the serve and volley on the previous point, not this time.
And you know, he's starting to loosen up a little bit with his confidence in when he starts to throw in those 2 moves forward, that lovely high backhand volley and a serve volley. he's starting to feel a bit more of the game that we're used to seeing from him.
I think that's the other thing that Billy and his team need to have a sit down, talk about for 2025. Is where can you find other ways to win points? Because at the moment he has a pretty one-dimensional style of play. Good, solid off the ground, reasonably decent paced first serve, but we don't see him structure a point so much to be able to transition and finish at net. And you've got to keep adding that part to the game also. Because he's going to come up, if he cracks that 100 mark, which he's so close to doing, he's going to come up against a lot of players that just play similar, and they've got something else that'll separate them, and you always got to be working on that.
He's definitely trying to be a little more expansive with that forehand. Question is whether he can keep the unforced error count off that wing for Hurkacz. Hurkacz making no inroads in that particular returning game. Billy Harris continues to impress, and it is 3-2 to Team GB in the second set. And I know he's got away with it in the last couple of games, over-serving the forehand on the due side. It just concerns me is when you get into the tight moments and the intensity comes and Hurkacz really logs back into what he wants to do, and particularly in the tiebreaker when you just need to steal 1 point. If you've done that too consistently and you haven't got the rhythm on the one down the tee, or at least inserted the element of doubt, that's the sort of thing in the big moment that comes back to hurt you. Which is why occasionally, as he's been ahead in the count the last couple of times, I would have liked to have seen him just throw in the one down the tee just to stop Hurkacz from leaning that way when it becomes a big moment. Trying to keep things nice and simple for Billy Harris. They need a little bit of a helping hand from this man in terms of making inroads on the return. But of course, the fact that he's just got that slight issue with the knee, the longer that Harris can keep Hurkacz out here, the more this match may come back to him. So all is not lost at all at this stage. Hurkacz is drive solid, but of course he's already got the additional bit of height. And he missed with the first serve on the opening point, but a couple that have gone to the forehand. Be interesting to see if he's serving a pattern here, whether he's going to go for a third time into this forehand of Billy Harris.
That's a good scoreboard time for him to try something uncomfortable. That off forehand, rather than pulling it cross-court into Harris's forehand wing, going behind him. Try it then. That's the right time to do it. No damage done. Here comes an ace, and it's 3-0. But you have to try it sometime in a match. He's in the investment phase right now. This man in the hat is a big part of his investment. A new coach, gold medalist in the Athens game in singles and doubles. Nicolas Massou, the first Chilean ever to win a gold medal in any sport. Absolute hero in Chile, and a wonderful, wonderful person and a great coach. Led Dominic Thiem to his lone major, US Open. Can he bring that magic to Hurkacz? That's what Hubie's betting on, and he's also brought on Yvonne Lindell as a consultant for the team.
It's little things with Hubie, isn't it? He's been 6th in the world a couple of times. He's played the Tour Finals once as an alternate back in 2023, but hasn't managed to pick up a win there in these 4 matches. But inside-out forehand, as you say, Jim, is not his most comfortable shot. He would rather try and hit it a little late, hook it inside in. There's one thing about the shot as well, I feel at times, is that he sets his feet very quickly for the inside out shot, so that by the time the ball's actually got to him, a lot of the time he's a bit tucked in.
It's interesting there on that backhand return. You know, we talked about the racket change, and when he went to lean on that one there, he's catching it a little bit up the top of the frame. And traditionally, Wilson rackets, if you catch them up the top, they fly just a little bit. You've got to get used to that. And he is not getting the same hit that he would normally get. Jim, you used to play with the Wilson as I did, and every single frame has its nuances that you become accustomed to knowing what your racket's going to do, and I don't think he's felt that yet with this frame.
It's the problem when you serve there so often and you know your opponent knows it's coming, that you feel as though you got to hit it even tighter to the line. Contributes to the miss. What a gift.
This has been a game of opportunities lost for Hurkacz. Love 15, had a second serve. He was in that rally, made an unforced error. Same thing right there. And Harris just might escape.
He does. Mentally, he's been absolutely perfect in the way that he plays this game, and Hurkacz has led him off there. And Billy Harris 4-3 up in the second. Well, the Polish teams have been out and about, the Italian teams, and we're going to take you out and about to the Wild Horses of the Snowy Mountains. It's home to Australia's highest peak. You wouldn't see it from those pictures, but you can ski ball, snow and ski there as we take you along the beautiful coastline and of course the Blue Mountains, which are famous for the Three Sisters, the Wentworth Falls. And if you like to lace up your hiking boots, there's 140 k's worth of walking trails in this part of the world. Our shot was something a little special. It's like we'd landed on the moon. Down in the trenches as long as Billy Harris has, these opportunities that you've been fighting for, hoping for, dreaming of, you're not going to let them slip through your fingers easily. And Team Poland has still got some work to do here if they're going to claim the opening match victory of the evening session. Optimism high for this side, of course. Dearly love to collect the title that they had a couple of championship points for last year when Hurkacz was taking on Zverev on this particular court. He serves at 3-4 in the second.
Seen a lot of the trick shots that Hurkacz is well known for. He's great with the tweeners, front facing and traditional, and he has really soft hands. Spectacular. Oh, the return was a little off the center of the racket, but Hurkacz nearly going around the net, and Harris was there for it and scoops it cross court with a slice forehand winner. And 30 all. A moment of pressure here for Hurkacz on serve. Snuffs it out.
Always nice to have that shot to relieve the pressure. So often the reliability there, as it was for Hurkacz.
Can't imagine what that must feel like to be able to have that in the repertoire, but I do know what it feels like to be Billy Harris down the other end when that happens to you, and you really have to settle back down and refocus quickly on your own service games when things like that happen. You put a big effort in and you got nothing out of it.
That's a semi-trick shot. on purpose let it drop as low as he could so he could get right round the outside of the ball. Not the greatest volley from Billy Harris, ends up opening up the court for something, and Hurkacz delights his fans with this one. A lot of wrist work, nice wrist candy. Nice change up on the outside. He's been prolific with his serving out wide, and you can see there Hurkacz a little late to pick it up. Swing and a miss from Hubert Hurkacz, and Billy Harris moves to within one game of potentially sending us to a decider.
Leads 5 against 4.
A little frustration, Todd, in that last forehand, you think, from Hubie?
Yeah, it's that's the one where it looks like he actually hasn't got the feel of the control of the racket. I think if he put his old Yonex racket back in his hand in the next change of ends, that forehand goes in. That's what it looks like. He has no real idea of what the consistency of the flight coming off the racket face is. So it's quite extraordinary when you look at it like that. I mean, and that just does not help your confidence when you're under pressure. That's missing by quite a ways, and it's all like off the flight of the racket very quickly, and he's not used to that, the way that it's sort of, for a better word at the moment, trampolining.
Welcome you back as we give you another glimpse into the world of Hubert Hurkacz's talent.
Really interesting when you look at the forehand. When the forehand's dropping in like that, he's able to control the ball. He's having a lot more trouble when it's sort of in between hip and shoulder height of really understanding what the flight coming off his racket face is doing. So that's something that only hitting a lot of balls can do once you've made an equipment change. You just have to find that adjustment, as I spoke about on the return a little earlier. If you catch it up the top of that Wilson frame, sometimes they fly a little differently, and you just have to get used to what that feel is like so that you can anticipate your own racket in hand, because it almost really, when you've been at the levels these guys are at, it's like an extension of your arm.
The thing about Hubie is that he does end up having close sets a lot of the time. It's not a lot of matches that he waltzes through 2-2, 2-3. So mentally, this is kind of the norm for him. Despite the golfing rankings, and maybe he feels as though he should win. He did win Estoril relatively comfortably back in 24, but the Shanghai win in the final against Rublev, he had to save match point. Had to save match point on his way through to winning in Marseille in 2023.
14.
It's Mikael Ymer. Haller back in 22. He had that epic with Nick Kyrgios winning in a final set breaker. His Masters 1000 triumph over Yannick Sinner in the final. As he wraps up that game in double quick time, had a breaker in the first, but of course against Raonic he came through midway through that tournament in a final set breaker. So that is kind of his style, and it's going to be interesting to see how Nicolas Massu kind of deals with that compared to working with someone like Dommy Thiem, who's in a lot of returning games.
That team also in retirement now. Just stopped one of the players that retired in 2024. It certainly is a different, the whole thing is different for someone like Nicolas Massu. The energy, the attitude, all of it is very, very different. And that's the job of a coach, is to adapt, isn't it? That's the more comfortable one there, pulling it across his body. He's a little cautious with the first couple of forehands. Got a little help from the tape there, and really accelerated nicely through that one. And that's, if he's going to get better at hitting the inside out forehand and the down the line forehand, he's going to have to trust the acceleration the way that he does when he comes cross court. Can't steer it. You got to rip it down the line. And I think, and I don't know if you guys agree, I think it's much easier to take a player who overhits and give them control than it is to take a player who has a lot of control and get them to swing faster at a target. It's just not the instinct.
Hard agree.
Yeah.
That was Jack Nicklaus's famous bit of advice, wasn't it, to Uncle Tony? Hit it hard and then learn how to control it. And then we had Rafa's US Open 2010, outlier of a serving display. Just tweaked the grip. Started smoking a few at about 130 miles an hour. The thing about coaches, they can be the teacher, but they can also be the lesson that you maybe don't want to change things too much. And we wait to see what this adventure holds for Massou and Hurkacz as we reach a potential pivot point here at the back end of the second set. Well, he won the point, but if I'm going to be a bit Todd Woodbridge and harsh here, I kind of feel that he's been signposting that serve all match, and there was only one place he was going to go, and it was only 176 Ks. And against a caliber of player like this, you should pay the price. And he did. Can he bail himself out? Billy Harris. He's running out of time everywhere.
Harris saying that the crowd cheering was why he was a little slow in getting into his routine. It's just a warning, though. The next time he would lose a first serve if he's called for it again. What a time for it. Break point down.
Perseverance pays off as Hurkacz breaks Billy Harris and gives himself and Team Poland the chance to take a 1-love lead in this tie.
That'll frustrate you to be down break point and to get warned for the time. The clock is the clock. You have to keep your eyes on it. It's a lot to think about when you're under that type of tension. But it certainly didn't help things, and the backhand found the tape, and he finds himself in a precarious position now, does Billy Harris.
Definitely going to take a lot away from these matches that he's played here. I'm not sure whether it's going to be the last one. Wim Bissett will be hoping that it is, that Iga Swiatek can continue the form that she's shown so far here at the United Cup. She's up next against Katie Bolter. And it'll be a come-to-a place for the world number 2 to be in, 1-love up. Well, with a growth mindset, you'll say that there's no such thing as defeat or failure. There's just lessons, and maybe this is a good one for Billy Harris. Certainly going to take away a lot from the matches that he's played here. He may well still be here if he can break Hubert Hurkacz and continue this match. But there's definitely parts of his game that can improve, could improve, which could shunt him into the world's top 100 and continue his meteoric rise and great story. But here's Hurkacz serving for the win. A much needed win. Wins can certainly smooth over some of the problems that you feel as a tennis player exist. Team partner and about to go 1-love up.
Again, center match, Team Poland.
It was tough, it was tight, but ultimately Hubert Hurkacz puts the win on the board.
7-6, 7-5.